Pat,
Right.
what are some other things that someone owns a practice? Let's kind of do a little case study here. So someone owns a practice. Maybe they help families and kids and couples. So it's kind of a general family practice. Maybe they have a couple clinicians that work for them. If you were coaching them, or if they had, paid to talk to you to figure this out, what would be some things that they should think through in regards to products for their practice, either before people come or after, or maybe there's different ways to think of it than even those two sides of it. Like, what questions would you ask them to think through as they're looking at products beyond just counseling?
Yeah, I mean, this is a great question. You've sort of teed this up perfectly for me with your own example. The way to think about this is not like customer to product fit. It's what is the customer journey? So meaning, where are they coming from, and what is potentially stopping a person from working with you and getting to be a client with whatever it is that you have to offer right now? Like, what is holding them back? What is a maybe first step that they hadn't yet taken that could then, after they do that, unlock the ability to get excited about working with you? That could be a great product. Like you said, you have the sort of beginner stages stuff for people who maybe can't afford the stuff that you already have to offer, or aren't even thinking that they're qualified yet for it. So in my world, for example, I teach a lot of business. For example, in many cases, people don't even know where to begin. Which, if they don't know where to begin, then how is my recommendations for email marketing software, audience building, everything that I have to offer doesn't matter anymore because they haven't taken that first step. So we have a lot of free things that we've offered. We choose to offer this for free as sort of a lead magnet to be, a little bit more competitive with some of the others that are out there. But we have a course that helps people just walk through, what is your brand about? Who is it that your target market is? And what messages do you need to have on your website? And, there you go. And now that unlocks everything else that we have to offer. So that's a very, very simple first step. And in fact, that's where I would start, because then that allows for more clients to come in if in fact you need help with more clients coming in. And then, like you said, the second half, it's almost like a sandwich, right? Like you have your practice is like the meat, or the sort of featured part of the middle of the sandwich. And you need like a bottom bread though to hold it up. And then you need like a top bread to complete it. And what's cool about this is once you have multiple parts of the sandwich, you can actually start offering them in many ways. So for example, the sort of beginner stuff could be a challenge or a training program that is potentially offered for free or offered at a low dollar amount, often called a tripwire, to figure out who is it in fact that's paying for this stuff, that then unlocks you to work with them further after they complete that. And you know exactly where they're at in the journey. They've already built a relationship with you. You've already built value with them. And then now they're ready for the next step, which is what it is that you already have. And then the sort of top right is, okay, well, what if a person comes in and they're leaving? Well, what might actually capture them after? I had this problem with my first business, which is helping people pass an architectural exam. When people passed the architectural exam that I was teaching, like there was literally no reason to come back. So I was thinking about different ways to help them with additional exams or bigger exams or career growth that comes after passing the test, which didn't happen because then Smart Passive Income started to grow so much. I put all my time and effort into that. And then I just basically had everything on my architecture website automated, and it's still been automated for 13 years now and still making money after that much time, which is kind of cool. But yeah, the journey that your clientele is on, where are they at? I think a lot of, I have a person who's a friend of mine. She is a photographer, right? And she does wedding photography. And the sad thing about wedding photography is once that person is done with the wedding, it's like, I don't need the photographer anymore. So she's always feeling she needs new clients all the time. And referral marketing is very key. I know it's very key for a lot of us who are listening too. And that's great. But what she's done is she's now offered services where she can contact those who were married, within a year and go, hey, how are you? I hope all is well. If you have anything exciting in your life happening right now, I'd love to be there to capture it. And of course, for many new couples, they might have a baby or a new home or something happening in their life at that time. And now she's able to help them remember that she can take great photos, so that now she's like, they're not wedding photographer anymore. They're like her life photographer. And she's had clients that have now, like, she's seen these kids grow up. She's seen these kids go off to college, like that kind of stuff happens. And it's just pretty neat how you can become that sort of de facto person that kind of grows up with that family versus just helps them in that specific moment in time.
Oh yeah, that's such a good point to really expand beyond just what you think your specialty is. Now, one thing I'm wondering, because I've been looking at schedules and optimizing our lives and working less to make more and all of that kind of throughout this book writing process, I'm always interested to hear, how do you think through your own schedule, your own time with your family? Um, you know, Going back to it, there's always more ways to make money. When do you say, enough is enough? I'm gonna call it a day. I'm gonna call it a week. Because with a business, there's always 50 million new ideas or things you could be working on that could be the best ideas to work on. They could maybe not be. How do you think through your schedule, particularly around when you're going to keep working and when you're going to kind of take time out for your family?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about discipline. But for me, discipline in this regard is really, really hard because I have a brain that likes to think about all new kinds of ideas all the time. And I've had to train myself to stay disciplined and stay within these containers of time to be able to focus on the things I should be focusing on at that time. And what I mean is, for example, is my calendar. My calendar is my brain, essentially, in terms of what I need to be focusing on and when. And I even have scheduled in my calendar when it's time to focus on the family. The beauty of having that 9 to 5 job, I remember, was at 5 p.m. I'd come back to my apartment and I was turned off of the business or of my job as an architect, and I could turn on to, at the time when I was living in an apartment with my fiance, and we could just continue to enjoy each other's company. That got blurred when I became an entrepreneur to a point where I was with my family, but not actually mentally with my family. I was mentally with my business, and vice versa. And especially when you work from home, it's even harder. So two things have definitely helped me. Number one, actually creating those boundaries of time. So during these times is when my primary focus should be the business, or the primary focus should be the family. And then for a while, even just having that time in there was providing a little bit of trouble. So I had to implement another strategy, which might sound kind of weird, but it worked for me. And I heard this from somebody else at one point. And it was actually having alarms on my phone go off at random times, like, I don't know, 3:12 in the afternoon, for no reason other than to just have a message pop up on my phone saying, are you doing what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or are you focusing on what you're supposed to be focusing on right now? And in the beginning, that alarm would actually catch me drifting or not fully present with the work that I should be doing. And then over time, it just started to, I started to anticipate that these alarms would show up, and therefore focus on the things that I need to focus on much more. And I don't need that alarm system thing anymore, but it definitely helped me because it would catch me. It would absolutely catch me in the act, if you will. And that's much better than, for example, our rescue time reports that come in, or now our times that come in with regards to what apps we're using on our phone. Those just make us feel bad later for, I
100%. Yeah.
oh my gosh, I spent this much time. But when you are caught in the act, essentially, it definitely triggers you. And what's cool is when these alarms go off when you're supposed to be doing what you're supposed to be doing, it reinforces that, and it makes you feel better, and it just has you lean into that even more. So I don't need that anymore. But those time boundaries in my calendar and when I should be doing what is very, very important to me. It's even to a point now where, it's at that hour, it's hey, I got 10 minutes before it's time to just be fully focused with my family. I feel like that pressure of, okay, I only got 10 minutes left to do this. Let's crank. And that pressure and those deadlines, even within the days, are really good at pushing me to just cut through the crud and not mess around anymore and just get done what I need to get done. So that's been really helpful. And then the second thing is actually physical space boundaries. For a while, I was doing a lot of my work in a kitchen nook in my apartment back in the day when I was just starting out in 07 and 08. And, that it became very apparent that I needed a space to do work where when I was in that space, I could mentally check into work. And when I was out of that space, I could mentally check out. But it also was for service to others around me too, to know that, okay, when I'm in this chair, I'm working. And when I'm not in this chair, I'm not working. Now I have my own home with an office with a door. And, that door is the entryway into focus time for both work, or when I leave the office, focus time for the family.
Yeah, I think it's so important to have those habits, whether it's, having specific places or Like when I was writing, I had a playlist that even when I went to go make my lunch, even though I'm around the family, it was during the pandemic. So they're there. They knew if I had my headphones on, like, don't talk to daddy. He's still in his zone. And it was like it
Right.
protected this bubble of work around me. And even at the beginning of the day and the end of the day, I would say, all right, girls, I'm going to work. And I'd give them hugs and I'd go into my office. And then at the end of the day, I'd be like, daddy's home. Cause I missed those hugs from when I actually went to a physical office. And, they'd come running, and it just became this habit where even though we were in the same house, it made it very clear daddy is in work right now. Just let him go and do that. And now he's home and he's ready to play, and like, let's get some Legos out.
Exactly.
So I love that you had those things. I as well, I still use timers. If I see that I have half an hour till a consulting client, I'll set a timer for 27 minutes, and I will just go full tilt into email or whatever else is on my to-do list that I know I need to get done, so that every single minute of the day is just work. Because I feel like if I'm gonna like dink around while I'm working, like that's stealing time from my family, that
Exactly.
I might as well dink around at the end of the day and go dink around with them rather than just doing it during my work day.